Ula Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Ula says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Ve'ever atzmei mutter. The limb itself is permissible. If it brought it back in, the limb is permissible. We said that was ambiguous. We said it's permissible. Ula gives us the other side, because Ula would travel back and forth. Ula's down down over here. Ula's put on the Babylonian side here, but he traveled back and forth to Israel, and he says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. A lot of the halachas we have from Ula, from Rabbi Yochanan, were brought back to Babylonia from Ula. So Ula says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Ve'ever atzmei mutter. Amalei Rabbi Yehuda le'Ula. Rabbi Yehuda says to Ula, the same generation there, right? No, Ula looks younger. Rabbi Yehuda says to him, V'Rav Shmuel damar tavayo ever atzmei yaser. We didn't know that Shmuel says this. Now we know Shmuel says this. Rabbi Yehuda says, I said in the name of Rav and Shmuel that the limb itself is forbidden. Amalei, Ula says, Man yavlan mi after the Rabbi Shmuel malina neinen. If who would give me from the dirt of Rav and Shmuel, and I'll fill my eyes with it, which is an expression of reverence to the greatness of Rav and Shmuel. I'm not saying anything about Rav and Shmuel. However, Elahachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. However, Rabbi Yochanan said, Hakol hayu b'chlal basar basad treifel leisechelu. All of these cases were included in basar basad treifel leisechelu, which we learned earlier. Means that anything that had a limitation, confines of where this meat needs to be, if it leaves those confines, it becomes forbidden. However, like we said, by a chatas, a karban that leaves the Beis Hamikdash, it becomes forbidden, and all of that. So this too, the arm or anything that leaves the animal becomes forbidden. However, let me explain. There was this by the inauguration of the tabernacle. So Moshe gets angry at Aaron that his two sons died, and they didn't eat the sar of Rosh Chodesh. Remember that before that on Rosh Chodesh you bring a goat, atone for the moon. Remember that. So you bring a goat on Rosh Chodesh. They didn't eat it. They didn't eat the goat. Normally the goat is eaten. Right?
They were in mourning.
They were in mourning. However, in this case, that halacha of mourning didn't affect. They were supposed to eat it anyway. If it was an inauguration offering, so the discussion was: is this considered an inauguration offering, or is this considered a Rosh Chodesh offering? There was a little bit of a confusion. Was it a regular offering, or was it an inauguration offering? However, Moshe tells them the blood wasn't sprinkled inside; that it should be an animal that doesn't get eaten. If the blood goes inside, it's not eaten. And it didn't leave the temple, that you shouldn't eat it. Now, over there it doesn't say that if you bring it back in, that you would be allowed to eat it. So over there it's clear that once it leaves, bringing it back in doesn't help. So that's a halacha that's taught to me by the chatas, that leaving the location, the allotted location for it, and then coming back in doesn't help. So that's a detail of everything that was in this category of something that leaves its location. It's taught to me by one place, by the chatas, that if it leaves the location and coming back in, that it doesn't help. Sounds like everything else leaving the location, coming back in would help. That's Israel. So therefore the arm that goes out, but it comes back in, it's acceptable. It's considered returned. The Gemara asks, Meisvei, what is this teaching me? That the meat that's on the field, that's outside, treifa, you can't eat it. What's this teaching me? Because we find by Ma'aser Sheni and Bikurim. Ma'aser Sheni is the second tithe which is brought to Jerusalem, and it's eaten there. It's not given to anyone. It's eaten in Yerushalayim, within the walls of Yerushalayim, in Bikurim, which is also brought to Yerushalayim. If those left the walls of Yerushalayim, you're not supposed to take it out of Yerushalayim once it's there, but if it left, then you bring it back in. I could have thought that maybe the arm that goes out, or anything that goes out, that comes back in, which should be permissible, just like Ma'aser Sheni that comes back into the confines within Jerusalem. Talmud Leimar Treifa. Say Treifa. No, Treifa. Gemara says, my Talmud, how does Treifa tell me that? That if it comes back in, it's not. Amarava Kitreifa. It's like a Treifa. Ma Treifa Kivan Shinitrifa Shuvein Laheter. Just like a Treifa, that once it becomes a Treifa, it never becomes permissible again. Af Basar Kivan Shiyatza Chutzlam Chitzasi Shuvein Laheter. Also, a limb that goes out, it comes back in, it doesn't have any permissibility. That's it. Once it's treifa, it's treifa. Once it's outside, it's a treifa. The Gemara says, tiyufta diula, tiyufta. It's a strong question on ula. We don't have a way of resolving it. That's what the Gemara has here. Okay, so we had a machlekes, Rav and Shmuel versus Rabbi Yochanan. If a fetus sticks its arm out and brings it back in, and the mother's shechted, if you're allowed to eat that arm, and Rav and Shmuel said no, Rabbi Yochanan said yes, but we end off with a question on Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, let's leave it here.
Anybody give me names for the OHEL if they want.
Okay, we'll text.
Thanks.
Text.